Hey, everybody. Thanks again for listening to the podcast. I appreciate it as we continue our week on talking about writing. So, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, let's do it. Let's go. Okay, I was going to get a little hype for this one, but think about it though. When you're done with your edits, that's it. That's it. You've done it. And I, when I had did my first project, it was a screenplay that I had wrote. It was The Diary of Mara Grayson, and it was a horror piece that I honestly did not expect to be so passionate about and just wrote out like that. I wrote that whole thing out, and when I was done with it, like I didn't even go into rewriting though, which was kind of a bummer. I really should have done that. But when I had wrote it out, I was hyped. But I also felt a little, I don't know. There's like this feeling that you get when you're finished with your project. It's almost like you went through so much, and now that it's over, it's like, what do you do? Do you do another one? Is there another one in you? I asked myself that because I spent a little bit of time after I had finished writing that project, just asking like, okay, so am I really going to do this like as a thing now, or was that just a one-off? Because to me, even though I didn't go through rewriting, I was done with it. Like I had got all of my frustration out. It was there. I printed it out. I had it in my hand, and I was like, I was just looking at this, what, 112 page thing, and I'm just like, well, what do I do? So today we're going to talk about letting it go because, well, I don't know. It's like when you have so much energy built up to complete a project and then that project is over, it's almost really sad, you know? It's like you kind of get a feeling in you where it's like, huh, is this it for me? All right, anyway, let's get into it. So, after the proofreading is done, after you fix the grammar issues and you release your project into the world, what then? I often spend a lot of time in my head when I'm at work or when I'm doing something for someone, just thinking about all of these concepts, all of these story things. And I don't know, I kind of like, things are cool when you're thinking about a project and you're like, I can write this out and all that stuff. But then, like, if you're just writing it, like for me, like I just write, but I don't, because I don't have a career that I'm writing it for. It's almost just like you love having something to work on, and you love having a thing where people are like, oh, so what are you working on? Oh, I'm working on this project. But even if it's not finished, you still have that. But when it's gone and you don't have a project anymore, it's like, what do you tell people? Oh yeah, I did finish a project. Okay, are you working on another one now? Well, you see, I've gotten to that point a couple of times, and I don't know. It made me feel like I wasn't doing enough. Maybe even that I wasn't good enough. I don't know. It's like it's a hard feeling to kind of express because, again, if you're not in the scene and you're not getting prompts thrown at you, and you're not being told like, you know all of these crazy story things have to be done by a certain time, like getting all of these deadlines done and stuff. It's like, well, where do I go? I don't know. I spend a long time like wondering that, and sometimes I still do wonder that. I did start this podcast for that specific reason. Really, it's because I was looking at myself as a content creator, and I was like, well, am I? a content creator? Am I gonna put something out? I don't know. I To prevent myself from rambling, I will move on from this, but the goal always is to move on to the next project and not to continue changing one story. So I just let my projects go. Once I'm finished with them, I just stop trying to keep going through the same story over and over to try to change things, or I stop trying to pretend like it's not done. It is done. It's a finished piece of work. You know, I think there's a time before too when I was looking online and I was like, well, where can I sell this? Do people want to buy this stuff? And when I said that, it kind of made me feel like I was losing credibility with myself, because I never really wanted to just sell my work like that. I've always wanted to produce my work, you know, like put something out from that's mine, you know, not so much work on something and then just get rid of it. Like if I was to write a script, I would want to be on set, you know, or like, you know, in some capacity within the production process, just so that I can get that feeling like this is mine, and really maintain that feeling, you know. But I needed to understand that when you're doing things like this, you do need to have, if you're going to continue to call yourself a writer, you know, you do need to have the notion that you're going to do something else. You're going to do this for a reason. Or if your reason is finished, then that's cool. You know, just let that be what it is. But for me, it's like that's just not enough. I love it too much. I want to go out here and do more of it. And you know, if I just rest on the laurels of this one project and just continue to call myself a writer when I haven't wrote anything or written anything in a long time, it's just like, well, I'm not a writer at that point. I'm just someone who did something one time and that was it. And I don't like that. So I just keep writing. It's a little bit about developing your skill set also. It's like when you do things like this and you become and you start writing content or, you know, some type of project and you're putting it out and you see it, you know, people will judge it however they want, but it's about taking that criticism and just getting better and better and better, moving on to the next one, the next one, the next one, so that you're not just, again, sitting by yourself in your own little world thinking that you're something that, you know, you're pretending to be something that you're not. You know, you're giving yourself the accolades, and you're not really pushing yourself forward to do anything else. You're resting on that one thing you did and not moving forward in other things that you could be doing. You're not putting yourself in the sphere where you really need to be, and you're not working on yourself. It's like with me and my body, because I'm a little hefty. You know, I don't put myself in the sphere of fitness, primarily because of the hours that I work. I can't really blame it all on that, but you know, I'm not a buff dude, you know, running marathons and stuff, because I haven't put myself in that arena. So when it comes to writing, I need to put myself in the arena where there are people doing it, where I can, you know, get criticism, where I can get feedback, so that I can make myself better and better and better. Because, you know, that's what I want. I want to interact with my peers who are, you know, doing the most right now. You know, people who are dedicated to the process, people who have projects under their belt, like big projects. You know, I might not get to that point. I'm not saying that I wouldn't want to get to that point, but I'm not aiming at making that my end all be all. I'm aiming at making myself as awesome a writer as I can possibly be, and whatever comes from that is just what it is, you know. So if you're working with a company, right, and you finish your part of the project, when you get done, but those revisions need to be made, so they might keep you on as retainer, or they might just let you go all together and then let their own team finish writing whatever it is you wrote up, you know. Let it be what it is and just let it go. Don't really worry or rest on that. I don't know if that's a thing for, you know, bigger the bigger writers out there, but for me, I feel like if I was doing a play or something for a local church, and you know, I had finished the project, but they had wanted to do things like, you know, revise things or make things different, I'm like, okay, y'all can do what y'all want, but that's it for me. Or at least I've done the majority of this work. If you need some changes or you want to make some different story beat things, whatever, okay, we'll change that. But for the most part, my hands are off of it now, from a writing standpoint. Now, again, if you're getting into production and stuff, also that's a little different, because then you're putting your hands, you're basically wearing another hat. But as far as that part of the process is concerned, that's it. Let it, you know, letting a project go and letting yourself be able to move on is the most important part of mindset when it comes to being a writer, I feel, because that just basically allows you to free yourself up for the next installment of the big thing that you're going to be doing next time, or this next one that you're about to do is going to be 10 times better than the one that you just got finished doing, is what I'm trying to say. And so focus on that. Let that be your thing. Move on and get to writing. In conclusion, that's basically it. Conclude. Let it be it. Let it be done. Walk away from it so that you can start another project. If you need revisions, if you need people to come in and, you know, you got to sit and work on this stuff here, there, whatever, that's fine. But you're done as far as your holistic workload. That's finished. Move on to the next thing in your head. Get focused on something else. Because if not, and you kind of start resting on that project, 10 years is going to fly by, and then you're going to be like, oh shoot, what did I do again? I did that one project like 10 years ago. Oh man, I need to get up and do something. And you know, that's not bad either, but I feel like if this is your thing and you do this consistently, then you need to put in the effort to make it consistent. Don't just let your project be a time guzzler. You know, like if you want to, even as a hobby, you don't have to get paid for this stuff. You just need to get the project done and move on, so that you're not wasting your time just sitting around and letting all these other interesting stories that you could be writing just slip out of your brain. You know, get that list of stories that you got finished so that you can make an even bigger list of stories and make those even bigger and grander and, you know, better, in the sense that you actually took the time to learn more about your process, so that you can again move on to the other thing and keep the chain going. So all right, with that said, I'm gonna cut it here because I think this was a little longer. But I thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.